We are Smooth Jazz Notes interviewing Jeff Lorber. Your new CD, Now Is the Time, is doing well, climbing up the charts. You have revisited the Jeff Lorber Fusion Band. You have such a diverse body of work. Why did you decide to take this avenue at this time?
This band that I'm playing with tonight, which consists of Eric Marienthal, Jimmy Haslip, and Will Kennedy, we were touring. I've done a series of different tours in Europe. I'm actually getting ready to go back in a few weeks. But you know, we were touring under the name of the Jeff Lorber Fusion, and there was a lot of interest in that, bringing back that music. And you know, that's sort of a well-known name over there, thank goodness. And I don't know, just the idea came up of doing a Jeff Lorber Fusion record, bringing back some of my old music and using that name again. And the minute we came up with that idea and we started you know, talking to some of our friends about it, it started to attract a lot of positive feedback. I think people were really ready to hear that music and that concept again. And so this record was a lot of fun to make. It was a band concept. Eric played on almost every song, and Jimmy co-produced along with Bobby Colombi, who is a brilliant producer, worked with Chris Bodie, and he's got an amazing career in the music business. He's going back to his founding of Blood, Sweat and Tears, where he was the drummer for that group. So that was basically it. It was just really a lot of fun, and everybody that became part of it, including a lot of the more peripheral musicians like Vinnie Colaiuta and Paul Jackson Jr., they were just really happy to be part of it. I guess many of them were fans of the Jeff Lorber Fusion when they were younger and wanted to be part of this record.
Well, it seems to be doing really well for you. You're midstream through your tour. Please tell us how the tour is progressing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just been fun playing this music. It's good music to play live. There's a lot of, you know, it's very up-tempo, it's exciting. It, in terms of being vehicles for improvisation, it's definitely challenging. It you know, it challenges you every night to you know, bring your A game and to play your best. And I'm practicing more now than I ever have before, because I know that that's sort of what's required with this music. And so, you know, and luckily, especially in Europe, it's really seems to be picking up steam. I'm getting ready to go over there for the most extensive tour that I've ever done over there. It lasts about a month, and we're playing a lot of major cities, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, we understand you started playing music at a very young age. Who introduced you to music?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of music around the house. My mother was a fine, classically trained piano player, and she loved to play, and I would pretty much go to sleep every night listening to her play. And some of her favorite music that she would play often would be more romantic music, which is funny because I do some romantic stuff, but I'm sort of known for the more hard edge, like funky, rhythmic kind of stuff. But she would play pieces by Debussy, like Clair de Lune, or Gershwin, Rhapsody in Blue, things like that. And so I grew up listening to that, and I had two older sisters that were taking piano lessons, and there was a piano there, and you know, just getting into playing the piano just seemed very natural, and everybody else was doing it, and I wanted to have fun too, like they were.
So you started playing the piano at what age?
4, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then did you progress to other instruments? I understand you do play other instruments.
Yeah. I mean, piano's always been and still is the main instrument, but I play guitar. I really enjoy playing guitar. I'm still trying to make some progress with that. I just took some lessons with Chuck Lowe recently, in fact. So I really enjoy playing guitar, but unfortunately, my skills at that instrument are rather rudimentary still, unfortunately. I play a few other things. I play a little bass, a little drums. Yeah, but I guess my main 2 instruments are guitar and piano, you might say.
So, so we understand that you went to the Berklee School of Music.
Yes.
How did you get there?
Well, that's actually a very interesting story, because when I was a senior in high school, I was actually all set to go to Cal Arts, which was very early on in its you know, because that's a relatively young school, and that had just kind of started. I think the Disney family had endowed that, and it was a school that was you know, very much oriented toward the film industry and animation. And I don't know what it was that really made me want to go there, but it was the winter. It was actually New Year's Eve of 1969 going into 1970, and I was set to begin school in the Los Angeles area in the fall of 1970. And I went skiing in the Poconos with a friend of mine, and we got stuck in a big snowstorm. And we pulled over to a resort, and it turned out the Buddy Rich Band was playing at this resort on New Year's Eve. So, and at that time, you know, the Buddy Rich Band was at the height of their popularity and record sales, and they had a fantastic band with great players in it. And it was a real thrill to be stuck in a snowstorm listening to the Buddy Rich Band. And somehow I met Richie Cole, who was playing alto sax in the band. I got a chance to hang out with him and talk to him quite a bit. And I let him know that I was thinking about going to Cal Arts, you know, that I wanted to study music. And he said, "Oh, don't do that, you should go to Berkeley." And I had never heard of Berkeley. I didn't know anything about Berkeley. No one had told me about Berkeley. And I said, "Really?" And so after that, I looked into it, and I took a trip to Boston, and I went to Berkeley just to check it out. And immediately it seemed like, wow, this seems like this is the happening place for people that want to really learn music. You know, this is where it's happening. And so I sort of switched my plans in midstream and ended up going to Berkeley.
So when was your first professional gig?
Well, I started playing, well, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know how professional it is, but I actually got paid for playing. I think I was about 13. I was in a band, and we were playing like little parties and stuff and little gigs. I remember, you know, and actually, like at that age, I didn't have you know, to play a lot of gigs back then. You had to have something portable, you know, and they wouldn't have an instrument there for you. You had to kind of play whatever you could bring. And so I couldn't afford an electric keyboard at the time, but I could afford an electric guitar, which were relatively inexpensive compared to electric keyboards. So I actually played guitar in the band. And I remember playing, you know, having my little guitar and amp, and we would play in the gymnasium, the junior high school, and which was, you know, that type of equipment. It couldn't be heard in a big gymnasium, needless to say. So I had my first experience learning something about sound reinforcement. But yeah, but I had fun. I was always sort of entrepreneurial, I guess. And I mean, and that actually counts. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are very talented in music that you don't hear about because they just don't know how to get themselves out there and sell themselves. And so I think, you know, most of the people that you hear of that are well-known musicians are talented, but they've also, you know, figured out a way to sort of get themselves heard.